When you embark on a cruise vacation, there's a single location you'll definitely find yourself visiting. I'm not referring to the wellness center or the gambling area. I'm discussing the magnificent, abundantly stocked buffet area. It offers ease of access. The service is quick. It's the location where healthy eating plans meet their end gracefully. However, there's something to consider. While the cruise ship buffet offers wonderful experiences, certain simple errors can negatively impact your time there or affect fellow guests. Therefore, we're going to explore 15 buffet blunders that wise cruise passengers should steer clear of, along with some courtesy tips you hope fellow travelers understood. Let's begin our discussion before the meal becomes chilled. Mistake 1. Racing to the buffet when you first board. You've just stepped aboard. Your excitement is high, your stomach is empty, and everyone else feels the same way. This explains why the buffet area is more crowded than shoppers at a warehouse store on the biggest shopping day of the year. You'll find families carrying baggage, lengthy queues, and no available seating. But here's a smart strategy. See if the primary restaurant is accepting guests. Numerous ships provide a calm, seated midday meal featuring superior cuisine without the commotion. Alternatively, visit the poolside grill or the pizza counter. Certain vessels even provide reduced-price specialty restaurant options on the initial day, a secret benefit few know about. The key takeaway: unless crowds energize you, avoid the boarding day buffet chaos and discover calmer alternatives. Mistake 2. Overloading your dish. Sure, the dining concept is unlimited, but that doesn't require everything to occupy a single dish. Pasta with cheese sauce, breaded poultry, Italian flatbread, chilled seafood appetizer, pork entree, a single meatball. And that's merely one serving spoonful. Select modest amounts. Sample small tastes, then return for additional helpings without discarding food or feeling as though you've consumed a heavy weight. Mistake 3. Neglecting buffet cleanliness. Let's address sanitation. That hand-cleaning dispenser isn't merely ornamental. Buffet dining involves communal serving utensils, communal ladles, and regrettably, communal bacteria. Consistently sanitize or cleanse your hands before approaching the food. Refrain from using your digits directly. Avoid dipping twice. And please don't taste anything and return it. Oh, and should you accidentally knock a baked good onto the protective barrier, that's a warning signal. Mistake 4. Not examining both buffet sections. Here's one of cruising's hidden gems. Either section of the buffet could offer different options. What appears to be an identical mirror arrangement could actually conceal the Asian cooking area you've been dreaming of. Certain vessels feature Japanese cuisine at one terminus and Mexican dishes at the opposite end. Pan-Asian food on this side, carved roasted meat on that side. Therefore, before you accept an unidentified baked dish, conduct some buffet reconnaissance. Mistake 5. Not taking food sensitivities seriously. For those with dietary restrictions, pay attention. Cruise companies are quite accommodating, but you must communicate. Inform the cruise line prior to sailing. Speak with a supervisor, not simply the buffet worker juggling multiple platters and a serving spoon. Cross-contamination poses genuine risks, particularly with communal serving implements. When uncertain, request a manager. They'd prefer assisting you proactively rather than summoning the medical staff afterward. Mistake 6. Overlooking the nutritious choices. Absolutely, bacon is available. Absolutely, there's sweet dessert. However, cruise buffets also provide roasted vegetables, sugar-free sweet treats, green salads featuring more than basic lettuce varieties. You needn't maintain perfect eating habits throughout the entire journey. After all, this is your holiday. But if your goal is avoiding the need for expandable waistbands by the 5th day, moderation is beneficial. Mistake 7. Violating fundamental buffet manners. We all understood proper behavior at family-style restaurants. Let's remember those lessons while at sea. Here's a reminder. Don't skip ahead in queues. Don't linger and obstruct the serving area. Don't complicate matters for the staff. And consistently take a fresh dish for additional servings, even if your previous one appears relatively clean. This isn't a casual backyard gathering. It's a communal area with 3,000 fellow passengers. Also, attempt not to occupy your table during busy lunch periods. If others are circling like coastal birds seeking seating, perhaps conclude the card game. Mistake 8. Dining during rush hours. Buffets become extremely busy, with queues extending beyond the entrance. Want to sidestep the masses? Dine somewhat earlier or somewhat later. Midday meal at 11:30, tranquil. Midday meal at 12, complete chaos. Evening meal at 6:45, queues everywhere. Evening meal at 5:30 or 8 o'clock, effortless navigation. You'll appreciate the calmer atmosphere and not competing for the final breadstick. Mistake 9. Consuming food too quickly. There's no urgency. This isn't airport dining between connecting flights. Decelerate your pace, masticate properly, take breaths, savor your cuisine. If you devour your meal in 7 minutes exactly, you'll simply end up with stomach discomfort and a wasted chance to observe fellow passengers. Take it easy. You're aboard a cruise vessel. Mistake 10. Inappropriate buffet attire. I dislike being strict, but your damp bathing attire and bare torso appearance isn't buffet acceptable. Most cruise companies require covering garments or a casual shirt prior to entry. No footwear, no shirt, no seafood. Additionally, no dripping throughout the serving line like a waterlogged canine. Towel off initially, then enjoy the food. Casual sandals are acceptable, but ensure all body parts requiring coverage are appropriately covered. Mistake 11. Bypassing sweet treats. You've just finished a substantial midday meal. Your thought is, I'll forego dessert this instance. But then you pass the pastry area and that miniature cream cheese dessert beckons you as if it understands your vulnerabilities. Keep in mind, cruise vacation calories are inconsequential. That's not scientific fact, but it ought to be. If something appears appetizing, take it. The negative outcome is not finishing it. The positive outcome is discovering a chocolate cream dessert that transforms your existence. Mistake 12. Not securing a beverage initially. You load up your dish, locate the ideal seating, and then recognize your mouth feels parched like an arid wilderness in late summer. Now you're performing the buffet embarrassment walk, transporting your tray back through the masses, searching for cold beverages. Here's the solution. Consistently obtain your beverage before filling your dish. Plain water, chilled tea, hot coffee, whatever maintains your hydration and contentment. A meal lacking a beverage resembles a cruise lacking a towel sculpture. Technically feasible, but profoundly unsatisfying. Mistake 13. Abandoning your personal items. You desire returning for additional servings, but you don't wish to forfeit your location. Therefore, you abandon your handbag, mobile device, eyewear, electronic tablet, reading material, and card game on the table as if you're claiming your space. Here's the truth. Most individuals are pleasant, but not everyone maintains honesty, and buffets can be crowded. If you're cruising alone, request a staff member to monitor your area or carry your valuable items. If you're accompanied, alternate your buffet visits. Your mobile device doesn't require saving your seating. It's not a small dog at a coffee shop outdoor area. Mistake 14. Becoming disoriented inside the buffet. You entered from one direction, you investigated the serving areas, and now you're uncertain how to return to your seating. It's not only you. Cruise vessel buffets can resemble food mazes, particularly after multiple visits to the meat carving area. Here's your answer. Remember distinctive features. Are you seated near the broth section? The frozen dessert dispenser, the gentleman who continuously discusses his seafood consumption. Utilize your environment. And if you become confused, well, perhaps you'll discover a new dessert area you overlooked initially. Mistake 15. Combining foods that shouldn't mix. Most cruise passengers avoid windowless rooms like they're dangerous. No openings, no scenery. Some describe it as resting in a cramped footwear container while sailing. So what explains my repeated bookings of these cabins? Well, following more than 30 cruises and countless dollars preserved, I can share this. Windowless cabins represent one of cruising's most undervalued money-saving strategies. They lack glamour. They lack scenic qualities, but they've enabled me to journey farther, cruise with greater frequency, and genuinely appreciate my holidays more. And presently, I'm going to demonstrate why I consistently select a windowless cabin, even when I possess the means for something more spacious. Additionally, I'll reveal the surprising advantages most cruise passengers don't recognize, including how one of my outdoor space upgrades completely failed. Let's explore this topic. The financial benefits. Let me speak with complete candor. I wouldn't possess the ability to cruise with half the frequency if I didn't select windowless cabins. These accommodations have preserved me thousands in currency. And I'm not exaggerating. While everyone else overpays for ocean vistas and outdoor spaces they scarcely utilize, I'm extending my financial resources and embarking on double the number of cruises. Once I compared two identical voyages, same vessel, same route. The windowless cabin cost $900 less. That represents an entire tropical destination land excursion package, aviation upgrade, and beverage package. All funded by what I didn't expend on a vista I'd barely be present in the room to observe. And here's the genuine strategy nobody discusses. Reserve early, then adjust pricing frequently. Cruise costs can decrease weeks prior to departure, and if you haven't reached final payment, you can typically rebook at the reduced rate. It's how I've preserved hundreds of dollars during the booking period, sometimes without any effort. Most individuals don't comprehend this, but windowless cabins aren't an inferior choice, they're a tactical decision. The quietest accommodations. This could sound illogical, but windowless cabins are genuinely some of the most peaceful locations on the entire cruise vessel. Correct, the accommodations people claim are confined and suffocating. They're also the sole place where you can genuinely escape auditory disturbances. Consider this: on one cruise, I occupied a promenade vista accommodation, a windowed cabin overlooking the ship's internal walkway. It sounded entertaining in theory. Until midnight, vocal entertainment began reverberating through the barriers. Children were yelling, glassware clinking, the corridor illumination never diminished. We barely rested. But the subsequent cruise, I returned to my reliable windowless cabin. No openings, no auditory disturbances, no diversions, purely complete silence, and the most obscure sleep I've experienced in years. And here's the strategy. If you reserve a windowless room positioned between other cabins, distant from the performance venue, vertical transport, or entertainment clubs, it transforms into your private rest haven. No footfall above you, no bass resonating from the nightclub. Simply you, your cushion, and complete darkness-level silence. I didn't comprehend how much I appreciated tranquility until I ultimately obtained it. Superior rest quality. This could be the most significant surprise of all. Windowless cabins, the most economical rooms on the vessel, genuinely provide the finest sleep you'll ever experience on holiday. No outdoor space, no opening, no sunlight. And that's precisely why they function effectively. One cruise, I occupied an outdoor space cabin facing the water. Beautiful vista. But every single morning, the sun arrived bursting through the window coverings at 6 a.m. like a spotlight. I couldn't rest late even when I desired to. The subsequent cruise, I returned to my typical windowless cabin, and it was a complete transformation. I rested 9 hours continuously. No alarms, no light penetration, no disturbances, purely uninterrupted complete darkness. And here's what most individuals don't comprehend. It's irrelevant if it's 3 p.m. or 3 a.m. In a windowless cabin, your physiology believes it's midnight. That indicates immediate napping, more profound rest, and increased vitality for your genuine holiday. On destination-heavy cruises, when you're awakening early and traversing 10,000 paces daily, that variety of rest is everything. You didn't arrive on holiday to awaken exhausted. You arrived to feel fantastic. And paradoxically, the accommodation that assists you in accomplishing that is the one most individuals disregard. Optimal space utilization. You might believe a windowless cabin is confined, uncomfortable, and scarcely inhabitable. But here's the reality. These accommodations are significantly more practical than people acknowledge. And in certain instances, they genuinely function superior to larger cabins. Let me clarify. On one of my initial cruises, I was anxious about reserving a windowless room. I envisioned colliding with furnishings. Nowhere to position my belongings, no area to navigate, essentially resting in a storage space at sea. But when I entered, I was astonished. Everything possessed a designated location. The wardrobe was full-sized. The sleeping area was enormous. Even the bedside tables contained compartments. The grooming area doubled as a workspace. And there was concealed shelving I didn't even notice initially. It resembled being in a miniature, flawlessly engineered spacecraft. Compact, but productive and significantly more comfortable than I anticipated. And here's what nobody informs you. Cruise companies understand these accommodations are small, so they've designed them down to the centimeter. You're not simply obtaining a more economical cabin, you're obtaining a space that's been refined for genuine travelers. Therefore, unless you're intending to remain in your cabin throughout the day, which, let's be truthful, you won't sense like you're missing anything. In reality, you might begin questioning, why were you compensating more for space you never utilized? Freedom from guilt. Let's be truthful. Have you ever purchased something costly and then sensed like you had to compel yourself to utilize it simply to sense like it was justified? That's precisely what occurred when I reserved my initial suite on a cruise. The accommodation was beautiful. Enormous outdoor space, comfortable seating, even additional benefits like priority boarding. But midway through the cruise, something unusual occurred. I began stressing about whether I was utilizing it sufficiently. Should I be relaxing more in the accommodation? Should I miss this performance and appreciate the outdoor space? Should I remain inside and obtain my financial worth? Suddenly, I wasn't contemplating what I desired to accomplish. I was contemplating what I should accomplish to rationalize the cost. Now, compare that to cruising in a windowless cabin. I rest, I bathe, I depart, that's it. And because I'm not compensating for luxury, I don't sense obligated to utilize it. No remorse, no pressure, no second-guessing my enjoyment. I can allocate my days precisely how I desire. From sunrise at the buffet to late evening vocal entertainment without once contemplating, should I be in my accommodation right now? Sometimes the finest value isn't what provides you more. It's what provides you the liberty to appreciate everything else. Virtual window technology. What if I informed you some windowless cabins genuinely possess a vista, even though there's no opening whatsoever? I didn't accept it initially either, but it's genuine and it's somewhat ingenious. On some of Royal Caribbean's contemporary ships, you can reserve a windowless cabin with something designated a virtual outdoor space. A massive floor-to-ceiling display that presents you the precise live vista from outside the vessel. Waves undulating, sunrises, even destination arrivals, all in real time. The initial occasion I occupied one, I entered and thought, wait, am I in the incorrect accommodation? Because it genuinely felt like an outdoor space cabin, even though I was compensating windowless cabin costs. And Norwegian has advanced a step further. They now possess solo cabins with integrated virtual openings specifically for single-person stays, and they're surprisingly comfortable. Now, does it sense precisely like possessing a genuine outdoor space? Naturally not. You can't step outside, detect the ocean scent, or hear the breeze, but it provides you the perception of space. And sometimes that's all you require to sense a bit less enclosed. It's somewhat like cruise vessel enchantment, utilizing technology to make a small accommodation sense large. And if you've ever concerned about sensing trapped in a windowless cabin, this just might be the characteristic that alters your perspective. When balconies backfire. Let me share the occasion I upgraded to an outdoor space cabin and immediately had regrets. We were cruising around Iceland. Frozen formations, coastal inlets, absolutely magnificent. I figured, you know what? I merit this. So, I compensated an additional $300 for an outdoor space cabin, anticipating I'd allocate every morning consuming hot beverages with a vista. But the instant we departed, I comprehended I had made an error. Our adjacent guests, let's simply state they didn't respect the no-smoking regulation or the reality that cannabis is prohibited on board. They were igniting substances on the outdoor space constantly. Every occasion I stepped outside to appreciate the vista, it impacted me like a barrier. Not ocean air, not fresh atmosphere, smoke, throughout the day. We reported it. The cruise company managed it professionally, but for those initial few days, my costly upgrade completely squandered. And that's when it impacted me. Windowless cabins don't possess this issue. No outdoor spaces, no smoke drifting in, no uncomfortable visual contact through transparent dividers, simply barriers. Acoustically isolated, issue-free. Windowless cabins might be small, but they arrive with mental tranquility you can't consistently purchase, even if you upgrade. And if you believe that's the sole concealed disadvantage of outdoor space cabins, wait until you hear this subsequent one. Determining if it's right for you. Acceptable. Now that you've observed the benefits, let's discuss you. Because the genuine question isn't whether windowless cabins are beneficial, it's whether they're appropriate for your cruise. So, let me analyze it. If you're cruising on limited finances, and I indicate genuinely attempting to extend every dollar, this is the simplest victory of your entire holiday. Forgo the outdoor space, reserve the windowless cabin, and utilize that additional currency for excursions, beverages, or even another cruise. If your schedule is destination-intensive, you understand, where you're departing the ship nearly every day, why compensate more for a vista you won't be there to appreciate? Now, reverse that. If you're sailing through Alaska, Iceland, or Norway, the variety of destinations where the vista is the experience, then affirmative, an outdoor space might genuinely be justified. Awakening to frozen formations and coastal inlets, that's once-in-a-lifetime material. And here's a significant one. If you're the variety of traveler who values slow mornings, private downtime, room service in robes, you might genuinely appreciate the space and atmosphere of an outdoor space or suite. But if you're like me, the variety of cruiser who desires to investigate every deck, attend every performance, and extract every ounce of adventure from the journey, then you don't require an outdoor space. You require a charging station, a shower, and a place to collapse. That's it. You don't require your cabin to be a destination because the vessel and the journey already is. And if that describes you, then a windowless cabin simply makes logical sense. That's why I almost consistently occupy a windowless cabin, and perhaps you should too. Inform me in the comments what variety of cabin do you typically reserve and why. And if you appreciated this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new tip from CruiseBlog. Appreciation for watching and joyful cruising.